Research Center study shows nearly 4 in 10 millennials have at least one tattoo. So do 1/3 of Gen Xers. A market research firm says tattoos are on track to become more than $1 billion business by 2020.
How you doing? My name is Renee Soto. I've been tattooing for about 30 years. Born and raised in Hell's Kitchen, New York. My interest in tattooing started when I was about 10 years old. I went to a tattoo parlor. Well, it was an underground tattoo shop down in the Lower East Side, and the guy's name was Tom DeVita. And he used to do tattoos for $30. And basically he tattooed all the neighborhood people from the Lower East Side. I was about 10 years old. I saw him tattooing my dad, and from there I fell in love with it. The first major artist that I tattooed, I would say De La Soul. I did a couple of like tribal patterns on the wrist. Then from there, you know, I tattooed Cypress. You know, I met them through a friend of mine, Sugar Pop. He's a dancer, and he's kind of like a producer as well. He's like a really talented guy. He does a lot of music, he does production, he dances, so he does everything basically. This guy couldn't do anything. So I met him through him, and we just clicked, you know. We became good friends before they even got signed. Like, we would hang out, they would stay at my house, and that's how I ended up tattooing them basically. And you know, we did the Cypress Hill logo, the tattoo on Be Real and Sen and Muggs, and Muggs ended up getting some more work. I did a Soul Assassin design for him. He got it done on his arm, and then from there I just, you know, little by little, people just was getting tattooed, you know, from them to Brand Nubians to Smith & Wesson, a couple of guys from Def Squad. So, and it just kind of progressed, you know, throughout the 90s. I tattooed first person, it was my neighborhood homeboys and my cousins. I might have been like around 14, 15 years old. I started tattooing all the neighborhood kids, and then by the time I was like 18, 19, I started really getting into it. I started drawing when I was, I would say about 4 years old, just looking at comic books, drawing their covers, and I had a teacher that got me into the art field. She told me that I should make a portfolio and try to get into an art school, and that's what I ended up doing. So I've always had an interest in arts, whether it was illustration, drawing, comic books. You know, like back in the early 80s, when I did do my portfolio, I was supposed to take a couple of tests to certain high schools, and I ended up only doing one test, and it was art and design, and they accepted me, because back then you would have to take a test, and if they liked your work or whatever, they would accept you. So it wasn't a school where anybody could go, you know. And I was fortunate enough that they had accepted me, and I just, from there, you know, drawing, got into like the whole art scene, the music scene, the graffiti scene. It was legal in New York prior to 1962. When 1962 came, it became illegal for health issues. They were concerned about the hepatitis, and not until 1996 is when they legalized it. So it was always an underground art form, which that's what I kind of loved about it. It was really outlaw. you know, the whole tattooing, you know, a lot of gangs, tattooing the whole underground scene, basically. Oh yeah, I've tattooed basically everyone, you know. uh, you know, I've tattooed Chinese gangs from Chinatown, gangs in LA, a lot of Bloods, a lot of Crips. I was always fascinated by it. To me, anything that was underground always caught my interest, and it was a cool experience, you know. I mean, I became real good friends with a lot of individuals that till this day I'm good friends with. Well, back then it wasn't really, the tattoo scene wasn't into like the whole graffiti scene and the music scene. Yeah, there was individuals that would get tattoos, but like for the art scene was more of along the lines with the graffiti scene, with the breaking and the popping and locking. It was more of the hip hop scene. I was just able to tap into the hip hop scene because I was more into the music scene, the club scene. I would go to a lot of the clubs, from the Roxy's, Danceteria, Red Zone. So I was always into the dancing scene. And that's how I got my name out as far as tattooing, because my work spoke for itself, basically. You know, people see your work, they like it, and that's how I got on. But I was self-taught, so no one really taught me. And back then, a lot of the tattoo artists were predominantly white, and they didn't want to teach anyone because that was, you're taking food out of their mouth, basically. You know, their whole idea was, well, why am I going to teach you when I could be doing the tattoos? They could come to me. So I just took it and since I had an art background, and I just practiced. You know, the saying, you keep practicing, you're going to get better, and you're going to, you know, either you're going to make it or you're not going to make it, one or the other. Well, as far as for gang tattoos, a lot of them do it to claim their neighborhood, their affiliation to whichever gangs they're down with, you know, their turf, basically. Then you have certain tattoo aspects where they'll do more of their traditional, their religion, you know, where they come from. You know, like I was fortunate enough to tattoo a Booyah tribe from LA, and they were a blood set, even though they made music, but you know, they're Polynesian, so we've done a lot of Polynesian patterns on them, and you know, dragon tattoos. As far as the Oriental gangs, you know, they would do the flying dragon. I was able to tattoo BTK, which meant Born to Kill. They were a big gang in the early 90s in Chinatown. Usually I was tattooing out of my studio, so it was really much of a kind of like a comfort zone for them. You know, we didn't have shops or storefronts out. Some did, but for the most part, when I tattooed, it was much more like a studio, so it was really comfortable for everyone. You know, they could come in, vibe, just like the rappers and stuff like that, musicians that would come to my house, get tattooed. We would hang out, and it was basically like, you know, just hanging out with the homies.
Like a chill session.
Yeah, basically, you know, they were able to smoke weed and hang out and drink, and it was really a kind of a real mellow vibe. Yeah, I also was fortunate enough to do Tupac. He came to my crib. Well, that came about. You know, I knew Kadada Jones and Kim Porter at that time. They were Kim was going out with Puffy, and Kadada was going out with Tupac, and they would come to my house and hang out. And Tupac ended up coming to my crib, and he ended up getting a tattoo, and from there we just clicked, and he ended up bringing Biggie at the time. They were friends when they were friends. You know, so everybody who was somebody as far as the rap game or the music industry would come to my crib in the early 90s to either hang out and get tattoos. But that was a cool experience. He was a really good guy. And I ended up doing a couple of other tattoos on him. As far as the tattoos that I did on him, I did a Black Jesus Christ where it said, "Only God can judge me," and it had a cross, and it had a water breaking on the cross. And then I did America Eats Its Young, which was a reaper wearing an American flag, and the reaper had a badge, a police badge. And what I did when I designed it, I did a whole bunch of bullet holes, and the reaper was holding the balancing beam of justice. With one side of it, it had money falling off of one side, and then on the other side it was drugs. And I kind of just drew it out because at that time that's what we were all into. And he wanted to do some crazy thing. He wanted some girl with her legs spread out, and I tell him, nah, that shit is kind of whack, you know what I mean? I tell him, let's do something meaningful, you know? And that's how I got the concept, and that's what I drew for him, and he ended up getting it. You know what? I mean, I've been fortunate enough to have my share of individuals that I tattooed that I really respected, and that influenced the music scene, and so I'm happy where I'm at, you know. It's been a blessing tattooing. I've always had a humble beginning as far as with my artwork, so I'm pleased, you know. If anything would happen to me right now, you know, I've been blessed, honestly, you know. Okay, well, right now I'm tattooing out of Skin Trade Tattoos. It's on 367 West 35th Street between 8th and 9th Avenue in Hell's Kitchen in NYC. The number's 917-532-7751. We just opened this shop in March, and we were like, you know, we feel like we're gonna be here for a long time. So, you know, if you ever have an interest to get a tattoo, come on down. Yeah, it's SkinTray68, and the Gmail number is skintray68@gmail.com.
Mopreme Shakur. I was little, so there's only, you know, certain amounts you remember about certain things, and, you know, certain things you don't understand that you figure out as time goes on, you know. You know, things was happening around me that I didn't understand. Come to find out it was because we were being watched and surveilled by the man and other outside forces, and I didn't understand that really at first. And then you get the understanding that you're not safe for whatever reason, and you know, the reason was the opposition. When Pac started getting tattoos, I mean, it wasn't that big a deal because he already had to die for, and you know, so, but it was the Thug Life tattoo. The Thug Life tattoo that's iconic to this day, you know. When he got it, you know, it's a jailhouse tattoo, it's And a lot of us, you know, the management, everybody was tripping because, you know, at the time Pac was a movie star. You know, but he was a legitimate movie star, which, you know, opened a lot of doors, endorsements, all types of things. And having that tattoo, they felt was messing up the business. Needless to say, Machiavelli the Don did not give a fuck. So, yeah, that he was fully committed to it. To see Pac reach and start reaching his potential was excellent. You know what I mean? I was a proud big brother. My record with Feels Good that came out in '90, before Pac really got his momentum on the music side. Yeah, I did Feels Good in the early '90s. So that kind of prepped both of us for what was to come, It gave me the opportunity to give Pac game on, at least some game on the industry, on, what I learned thus far. And then he took that and did his own thing and learned a lot more game from Digital, It was like simultaneously, we was all homies, we all hung out. Digital, Pac, me, it was the Bay Area thing. What I was doing in the industry at the time was on a hit record, and they were still pushing the record. So I was with Tony on tour. We was doing Budweiser Superfest and, Summer Jams, and I was performing, we was active. And, but I wasn't part of the group. And they had, they asked me to do it instead of Hammer. And Hammer was hot at the time, and he was gonna get a lot more bread. So they asked your boy. 50 Niggas, I mean, we come from a community organization background, community organizers. Our parents come from that background. So we were always trying to organize. Pac was trying to organize, arms for the community so we can do things, get things done. And 50 Niggas is the original. 50 Niggas is what Thug Life became, 50 Niggas is where Thug Life started. That's why it's on his gut. If you notice the location, he got it, There's a few of us left with the 50 Niggas tattoo, the original. My man Mouse Man, shout out to Mouse Man. I think Man. But yeah, that's the original. And anybody, a lot of people, have their own perception of what it might be about, but if you don't have this tattoo, shut the fuck up. Y'all don't know what you're talking about. All due respect. All due respect, but 50 Niggas was the original concept. One good nigga in every state, we can accomplish anything. That was the concept. And it's not that fucking ridiculous, if you was true about it, if we had true soldiers, that was the key. And eventually 50 Niggas evolved into Thug Life. What a lot of people did not know is that we were brothers. So our dynamic was, I'm big brother, he was little brother, I'ma hold you down, and it was simple mathematics. Pac had the film and the music career, I had the music career. You know what I mean? It was simple. We had to get all the money though. So like, Mo, what you gonna do? You gonna hold me down? You gonna help me or what? I'm like, all right, and I chose, rather than do the solo thing, I chose to help Pac, and he needed it because we were trying to make records and movies. So when movies were being made, I'll be mixing records or getting them completed and ready to turn into the label. And Pac did have a team, but you didn't hear a lot about him. That's all. Some shit I can't explain. Pac was a genius. But actually, Pac just diagnosed it. You see what I'm saying? The elements already existed. Pac just put a name on it. And we saw it in different, in different areas in the hood. We was about, taking some good from the bad. You know, we were surrounded by bad. So we always, from slavery, we always had to live in a bad situation and make the best of it. You dig? So young black males in the early 90s, at the birth of the crime bill, we were all targets. You see, Pac didn't think he was gonna make it to 21. You know? Hate you give little infants fucks everyone was also, it was bigger than a rap group, but it also encompassed a rap group, plus a social movement, because the common denominator was economics. You see, that's why it didn't matter what gang you was in, what country you was from. If you was poor, disenfranchised, and been gamed on by the system, you understood thug life. You know what I mean? If you grew up in a single parent household, you understood thug life. If you grew up in the hood, you understood thug life. Whether you was Muslim, Russian, Armenian, Asian, African, common denominators is money, Papa's song came about, we had a lot of father issues. You dig? The lack of presence of a father. From the civil rights and black nationalist movements, a lot of brothers got caught up, locked up, put away, including my father, Dr. Mutulu Shakur. A lot of brothers from the movement is locked down or dead, So that's where us and thug life came about, you know what I mean? We came out of that. So when Papa's song came about, by me and Pac reconnecting, we reconnected back in 89, 90 because, my father had been on the FBI's 10 Most Wanted list, and he had been captured, and the family was coming back together. Prior to that, everybody was scattered. So, being that we was reconnecting, and last time we were together, my father was in our lives, you know what I mean? Me and Pac grew up as kids, and my father would walk us to school, you know what I mean? And we were reconnecting, and now he was not there, you know what I mean? Pac's biological father was not there, We had a shortage of black men, to give us leadership. And, Pac is a true artist. That song came out of that. His verse, my verse, the last verse, the soldier voice, that was supposed to be the father. The father's is saying his side of the story. So, yeah, that's one of the songs that helped get him signed. That was on his demo that got him signed. I have my Thug and Peace tattoo to Pac and Yak. Yafeo Fula, aka Yaki Gaddafi, my little brother. The three of us and Castro K are like the actual relatives from the whole clique. Everything came out from us, you know what I mean? Because Yak bought the Outlaws, me and Pac, was doing our thing. We bought the rest of the crew. But we all, me, Pac, Yak, were together as kids, little kids. And our fathers ran with each other, you know what I mean? So we were all considered brothers. We all considered ourselves brothers. And it was like that to the end. So it was a rough period. It was only right, because I didn't want to go too crazy with the tattoos like Pac. I'm like, yo, Pac, wow, boy, you're really inking yourself up there, buddy. third tattoo is my lion. A lion. Heart of a lion. You know, I am a Leo. Yes, ma'am.
Let's get it.
And
Let's get it.
and you know, I'm not all that deep. I don't know all the houses in astrology and all that, but I feel the Leo-ness. It helps give me strength, just the concept, the regalness of the lion. He ain't even the biggest one in the jungle, but he runs shit. If our biological fathers were in our lives, you know, my pops was in our lives a little bit, but if they continue to be in our lives, we probably wouldn't be the same people. The influence, the game that we could have got, you know, that's why, you know, when you see Pac, you know, getting it in, rhyming, you know, he's getting across that feeling. Yo, we was mad about a lot of shit, man. You know, we was frustrated about a lot of shit because they were gone. We, you know, dealt with the guilt of not being able to help our mothers enough. Our mothers and our sisters enough. And you know, the idea of supposed to be the man of the house, and, you know, it just gives you a drive. When they're not there, it gives you a drive. You know, if you got any hustle about you, it gives you a drive. It gives, you know, you got to come up. You got to change this situation for you and your family. You got to, you know, it causes you to take more risks, you know. It causes you more to be a free thinker, you know, because we influenced by other influences besides them as much. Now, my father in the end, you know, once he was captured, we were able to chop it up with him on the phone. He was able to help. He helped us establish Thug Life in a real way. The Thug Code Foundation. So when he was able to, again, he did. But, you know, with my father, he sacrificed and made us all sacrifice for the movement, for the people. You know, though his success is arguable, that's what his thing was about. And it's hard to hate a man for wanting to help his people. You know, you get a sense of what all that is.
Wait, do you have any social media or like where people can follow you on Facebook, Instagram?
If you even want to be followed.
If you want to be followed.
Tattoo left, tattoo left, tattoo left, tattoo left. I don't know what y'all thinking. We the best without inking. All people is tatted up. They represent. They can't get enough of that all. Straight from the door, we handling business. What do you like? Your favorite design or profession?